Rugby League International could now be decided between the clubs. And it goes away, thank God, because no one's really missing out.
No.
Excuse me 1 second. Thank you. And finally, this is a lovely story. This made me so happy to read this in the rundown today. A boy who fled war-torn Afghanistan after his father was killed by...
Not that lie.
No, not this bit. The overall story. No, hang on. I'm not some Britain first. Let me get through it all, and then you'll see why I got the ball. Yeah, this made me so happy. A boy whose dad was killed by the Taliban. That's not the bit. That is deeply tragic. But stick with us. A boy who fled war-torn Afghanistan. Now I'm laughing as I try and read it. Give me a second. Right. And finally, a boy who fled war-torn Afghanistan after his father was killed. You're a fucking dickhead. Right. Can we just establish that I'm not finding it funny? This guy's dad was dead.
I'll walk away from the table.
You just give us a minute. Yeah. Right, okay, you stand over there and stop looking at me. And finally, the boy who fled war-torn Afghanistan after his father was killed by the Taliban is on the cusp of a professional rugby league career. Saeed Jamal, who's 15, arrived in the United Kingdom and settled in Rotherham about 4 years ago. He played school rugby and at Dearne Valley Bulldogs before being spotted by Super League team the Castleford Tigers. Saeed is playing for the West Yorkshire club's youth academy side as a fullback and has ambitions to play the game as a professional. Off the pitch, Saeed wants to become a cardiologist. It's not an easy thing for a person like me to get into this level, the teenager said. It means nothing is impossible. You can do everything that you want. He's already made an appearance for one of Rugby League's biggest teams in the grand final at Old Trafford. In his Dearne Valley Bulldogs strip, he carried the ball out to the referee before kick-off in the 2016 final between Warrington and Wigan. To be in that dream and was a great feeling. It will motivate me, he said. He was 12 when he joined the community club based in Bolton upon Dearne near Barnsley. And very soon he was captaining the team despite the language difficulties. They do talk funny in Barnsley, I'll give you that, kid. It was a different environment for me and I couldn't speak properly, but I really enjoyed it. For me, it's a family and the support from everyone is incredible, Saeed added. What a wonderful story that I have absolutely butchered and made a prick of myself over, but how fabulous.
It's great and it shows rugby league is inclusive, rugby league is for all. And long may that continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And I'll be keeping an eye out to, and with fingers crossed, we'll see this young lad play at Super League level fairly soon.
He's got a tough job on him, becoming a professional rugby league player and a cardiologist. Yeah. His lofty ambitions. Shoot for the stars, kid.
Absolutely.
I hope he gets one of the two.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's overcome much.
I think he's more likely to be a professional rugby league player first before cardiologist than the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we've even managed to hand out a bit of career advice to this young man. So if you're listening, Saeed, congratulations and pay attention to Mark. Right, that's the news from around the world of rugby league. Let's take a look back now at round 2 of Super League. So to round 2 of Super League Denmark, and we'll start on Thursday night over at the KC Lightstream Stadium. We both thought Hull FC were in for a win, and in fact it was Catalan Dragons 16, Hull FC 14. Luke Walsh kicked 12 points as the Dragons edged what was a bruising encounter to earn a second win in as many matches and go top of Super League. It was a first half dominated by the forwards, which ended with the hosts taking an 8-4 lead thanks to Carlos Tuimavave, but within a minute of the restart the French side led when Richie Myler scored following a flowing move from deep. Liam Watts pounced to touchdown and put the Black and Whites ahead again, but Walsh kicked the Catalan Dragons to victory. Thoroughly enjoyable game. Well, bit of biff, bit of grit.
Well, Alan Walker we'll start with from the fan reviews, our resident Catalans fan. He said, not a great game, that's how Hull play if you don't let them. Hull's a good club, but most ex-props make their teams play dirty. More high shots than the Hashish Hunting Club. Drax fierce.
I'm so glad you get to read this.
Drax's fierce defence is a joy to watch. Busquets gets better, so does Da Costa. Bird is majestic, no surprise. Bosco is king. Never mind neutral refs in World Club Challenge. How about in Super League? Hashtag back to the beach tomorrow. Shit, no, it's work tomorrow. Hashtag hate Thursday RL.
Oh, Alan, do us a favour, drop us a private message and let us know what you do for a living, because if he does drive a bus, that'd be amazing. I want to get on board the Al bus one day. Tyler Casfan got in touch and, sorry, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, I bet when we get to a Hull FC fan, they'll think the referee was biased and Tyler the other way, whereas I just think the referee gave a lot of penalties because the players did a lot of infringements.
There was a lot of penalising to be done. Tyler Casfan said Hull fell into Catalan's trap, interchanges down to 2, so a scrappy stop-start game suited them and Hull got suckered in. The day Catalans put on an entertaining game, I'll go upstairs for a posh one. Good lad, good lad. Do you know what? That would have won your tweet of the week 2 seasons ago, mate. That would have been absolutely in there. Every time you get in touch, this young man impresses me more and more. Thank you, Tyler.
Because he made a wank joke.
I just think it's funny. It's a mark of the kid.
Mark W said, only caught the second half, but can't believe Hull threw it away. If they kept their heads and not given away those last penalties, they'd be sitting top right now. But despite the high error count, not the worst half I've ever seen.
I think the thing with Tyler is it's nice to, because he's such a young lad. And he really...
He's about 19 now.
Yeah, exactly. But that's very young compared to you and me. He fucking hates him. Do you know what I mean? It's like ingrained. I
it's
love
like
it.
Joshua and Hull KR.
Oh, it's much worse than that. It's
more
deep.
visceral.
It's deep. There's bile. I love it. At 1984, Beast got in touch. He or she said, stop, start. Both FC and Catalans looked like they were still gelling. Both teams tried a game plan similar to what FC did against Wakefield, e.g. up the jumper, take 2 points on every occasion. Neither team needed to do this. Conditions weren't horrendous. It was damp and cold, but did not warrant conservative rugby league. I'm not worried for FC because the cliche is true. It's where you finish at the end of the season. There you go.
Brian Davies said, game was spoilt as a spectacle by ill discipline from the players. How thick is Greg Bird to lay on in the tackle 30 seconds after the ref has put his team on report for laying on? Catalans were dull but efficient and they ground out a win. You get games like this, just hopefully not too many.
Rich Lanley, he said Catalans did a Hull 2016 on Hull 2017 and grafted to a hard-fought win. Hull's lack of creativity came back to bite them again, and despite plenty of passion, unforced errors and silly penalties undid us. Scott Taylor wins the early season if it moves. Hit it award, though. He did skirt the legality line. Move of the game goes to Greg Bird's stash, which gave a shimmy and fooled #tackle52 for their try. There you go.
Chris Macy said, feisty one, that. Alright, Yoda. I think Hull were lucky not to lose that by more. And I think Sam Mower isn't so popular with the FC faithful anymore, but I loved his storming run with about 4 blokes hanging off him after they clearly wanted to teach him a lesson. Yeah, that was right after the...
He did Gaz Ellis from... Well, he caught Gaz Ellis after he'd released the ball and it sort of whipped Gaz Ellis' head. I didn't particularly find anything malicious in that.
Then it was the next carry, wasn't it, after that?
Right, but fair play to him. Yeah,
a game bursting with penalties and the odd missed call and some huge hits. One last point. Seekamanu's 78th minute cannonball on Casti. Just fucking stop it, lad. Well, that doesn't... I don't think that was one of the many citations. I think there was 4 citations from this game. Those late borderline high kind of whiplashy hits from Moa and Taylor got cited.
Yeah.
The dangerous throw from Watts, which did it get him put in the sin bin, or was
Bird was the only?
Bird the only sin bin?
Bird was the only sin bin.
Did it go on report then? Well, that's got him a grade D charge, the Watts one. So get him out of your dream teams, kids.
Yeah.
And Greg Bird for his for something. Was that the other one? Oh no,
it seems likely.
There was the contact with the referee one, wasn't there, from the Catalan player, Casti?
Yes.
No, no.
Battieri.
Yeah, the Aussie Frenchman.
The other Frenchman. You mispronounced other there. Scoots28 Max, he says it was truly a dire match with poor officiating. There you go. Thought Manu and Tumavava had a decent first half. Connor was good and also terrible at times. 2 wrong calls with the tries. Eames looked good and Wats's should have been disallowed. We played dumb and Catalans played the ref better than us.
Actually, even-handed. Very much so.
Yes.
That Inu one was a was a missed call. The Watts one, I think it was fair enough.
Yeah, I don't have a massive problem.
No.
No.
Paul Mac _ 78. He said, "Vive le goal de penalty."
There you go. Long live the penalty goal. Excellent. Paul Ludo Lewis, he got in touch. "I said to myself at the start of the season that I wasn't going to blame referees or scrutinise their performances because it's such a tough job. Therefore, I have just deleted 420 characters of pure evil and bile directed towards the whistle-happy idiot Hicks. Namaste."
That's the alternate view to Brian Davies. I tend to be in the Brian Davies camp with the refereeing situation. Andy Scrimshaw says, "Poor game to watch and disappointed in Hull's attack. Most players were not on their game and massive improvement required if we are to challenge this year. Have faith that they can, especially with Kelly back this week."
That's good, Scrimshaw. I was going to let you say it.
No.
I think if you read it out, you should be able to say that's good, Scrimshaw.
I think it should be the other person says that's good, Scrimshaw.
Well, either way,
Yeah.
that is good, Scrimshaw. What did you make of this one, Marcus?
Well, I think people have mostly covered it. I think there was an element of dullness to it. It was obviously stop-start. Catalans, I wouldn't say were dirty. I think they were niggly when they lost the men. Ayton was one of the men, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Who couldn't come back on, and the other one was
I'm not sure now.
Battieri.
Yes, I think so.
It was either Battieri or Busquets, anyway, wasn't it? But or probably someone else. Either way, I just think neither side really got any flair going. It wasn't a game that gripped because of the stop-start nature. It was one that I was looking to Twitter a lot during because because I don't need to watch 4 replays of a player staying in at the ruck and then claiming that he wasn't staying in at the ruck, or a player hitting someone round the head and then claiming that it came off the shoulder, so it's okay. It's not. If it ends up in his head, it's not okay. Let's get with the programme, talking about the stuff we were talking about, the James McManus stuff before.
That's it.
If it ends up in the head, it's a head-high tackle. That sort of stuff. I just didn't...
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the attrition. I mean, it was stop-start, and it wasn't the greatest game of rugby league ever, but I quite enjoy the attritional, forwards running at each other stuff for a period of time. I didn't find too much wrong with it. Catalan were value for the win as far as I was concerned.
I think their try was very good. The other thing, the highlight reel part play from it was obviously that Sika Manu offload for Hull's first try.
Yeah,
that was an unbelievable sleight of hand.
Sika Manu is a tremendous player. I always enjoy, he's one of the ones that I always enjoy watching as well. So yeah, there were things to take from that. I think you lose something. I mean, I like Carlos Tumavarvi in the centres, but I wonder if not sticking them in at the halves might have given them a bit more creativity through the middle.
Or maybe on the wing or something where he might get to run the ball a bit more. Yeah,
because they had Fanua on the wing as well, didn't they? Which isn't the best way to utilise Mahe Fanua, I think.
Not anymore.
He's a bit lost out there. I think he's a better... He's a devastating centre.
Because he can carry the ball closer into the ruck, I think, than Tumavarvi sometimes. But that Tumavarvi try was, excellent play, particularly by Sika Manu.
Stats then, Mark. What do they tell us about this one?
Well, Hull tackle better, 3% better, even though they made over 100 more tackles. Actually, that's in the top 10 for differential of tackles between the teams, tackles made between the teams in SLP history. They also made ground at a better average game with fewer overall metres and fewer breaks. Meant they got into scoring position less, though, because of the lack of breaks. Where it went wrong for them was 18 errors, handling errors, don't blame the referee for those, and 12 penalties conceded compared to 10 handling errors and 11 penalties conceded from Catalans. Crucially, it was the kickable penalties that gave Catalan 10 of their 16 points. Yeah,
Luke Walsh was on good form with the boot, wasn't he?
Yeah, individually, Greg Bird with 125 metres, Justin Horrow with 110, and Jason Battieri, so it can't have been him who got injured, with 109.
Busquets!
Were all big gainers for Catalan. For the losers, the standouts stats-wise were Mahe Fanua, 123 metres, 3 successful offloads. Sika Manu with a try assist, 40 tackles, 5 tackle buffs, so doing a bit both ways. And a man who's not... who
requires no introduction. He has his own hashtag.
Danny Houghton, 67 tackles, 17 marker tackles. Those numbers stand us individual performance-wise second overall in terms of tackles and 7th overall in terms of marker tackles in SLP history.
Who's number one?
Danny Houghton with 69 tackles,
well.
yeah.
Look at that.